Hey, welcome back to the garage, everyone. Is your Mercedes W126 an epic pain in the butt to drive? Well, stick around because this video is for you. All right, here we go, folks. Both the front seats on this car exhibit the same problematic issues. So basically we have broken springs in both seats. I'm going to start with the passenger side and just get it done first. And that way I'll be able to do the driver's side a lot faster. If you sit in this seat, you basically just sink to the floor. It's really terrible to sit on. You've got this plastic piece here that's come off. I think it's over in the corner of the shop over there. I don't think it's broken. It might be a little bit, but I think we can fix it up with a little JB weld and get it back on there good as new. These seats compress down really far, and with the upholstery has decided to slip off for some reason. So we're going to have to fix that as well. Basically what we have is a set of seat springs from a donor car. As a matter of fact, it's a Generation 2 W126. The new seat bottoms that we're going to install came out of an 88 or an 89 model. So the springs on those seats are supposed to be a good bit stiffer than these. As you know, the Gen 2 seats had different upholstery. But I'm going to go with the original look. In other words, these pleats like this, we're going to keep that look. But we're going to install the stiffer Gen 2 spring set in the seat bottom. So when we're done reupholstering this, it will look original, but it won't sit original. Some other things that we're going to need to address while we're here is, you see this white corrosion down here on the adjustment rails? I think it's due to dissimilar metal type corrosion where you've probably got ground signals from the electrics in the seats running to the ground in the body. We're going to take these seats completely apart, take all the upholstery off. We're going to clean up all the metal bits, get all the corrosion off. We're going to lubricate all the rails. We're going to replace the seat bottom spring set, and we're going to put everything back together. Basically, we'll have a nearly new seat when we're done. The first thing you will want to do is position your seat in such a manner such that you will be able to get to the bolts. So you need to raise the back and the front of the seat to their maximum height. So once you've got your seat fully raised, you want to push it forward so that you can expose the rear two bolts. You don't want to take those off. You want to take these bottom bolts off here and here. And then once you get those back two bolts off, you move your seat back. You don't have to take it all the way back, but you take the little covers off here and over there, and you got two more 10mm bolts, and then we'll remove the seat. And I'm sure there will be an electrical harness underneath there somewhere that we'll have to disconnect after we get the seat loose. All right, we've got some PB blaster soaking in there, and I've got those bolts broken loose already, so we're going to make our job a little bit easier and get our handy dandy battery wrench in there. What you want to do is you move your seat back all the way forward, make your life a little bit easier. So we're going to get these two front bolts out of here next. All right, another little item we've got to take care of. We've got to disconnect this seat belt mechanism from the side of the seat. Now right here there's an arm coming off. So you see this bar right here? There is a metal arm coming up right here, and there's a pin, and then there's a clip right here. So if I move the seat backwards and forwards, get my light out of the way, so you can see that connection point right there. Gonna get that clip off next. Let me go get a little screwdriver and take care of that. All right, I've got the seat tilted backwards. This will facilitate the removal of the electrical connector, which is right there, and it's a standard Mercedes connector that you've seen throughout the car. So I'm not gonna lie to you, getting that electrical connector off of that seat is kind of a pain. I had to fiddle with it for a little while with a small screwdriver, and I was able to get it to separate. I think it was frozen in there a little bit, but you know, I guess it's been in there since 1984. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get this seat out of the car, finally. Well, that wasn't too bad. I used some cardboard to keep from scarring up the door sill there. All right, we're going to show you what we're dealing with here. I think we were able to get this accomplished without any breakage, which would be unfortunate. There is a pesky connector. That was kind of a booger to get out. Here's our little clip, and there's a pin off of the side of the seat. It fits into that hole there, held on by that small clip. That's for your seat belt. We'll take this thing off as well, get that corrosion off there, get that painted up, get it all cleaned up, make it look nice. There's our seat mounts. I'm going to get that piece of metal out of there, get that corrosion off of there, get this all cleaned up, get it shampooed, get it cleaned up, vacuumed, and before we put the seat back in here, this will all look brand new. Well, as close to as new as I can get it anyway. The carpet's in pretty good shape. It just needs to be cleaned up. All right, we got our seat over here on our makeshift table, and in order to get the seat out of the car, I had the backrest tilted quite a bit up this way. So I'm gonna take some power and some ground from the battery on the car using some long leads, and I'm going to activate that motor and make this backrest move out of the way so that we can get to work on the seat bottom. All right, we've got our handy dandy schematic from the service manual. So we've got two wires going to the backrest. They are orange and gray, which is pins 1 and 2 on the connector. If you look at the switch diagram, if you ground out pin 1 and put power to pin 2, the seat back will go back. And if you hook those up and in the opposite direction with the ground on 2 and the power on 1, the seat back will move forward. All right, so let's move our seat back. All right, here is the connector. I've got ground on pin 1, and I'm going to touch the power to pin 2, which is right there, and we're going to see what happens. Power. All right, let's see if that's enough to do what we need to do. By golly, I think it is. All right, that ought to make our job a little bit easier. Let's move on and take this seat apart. All right, because this seat was sagging so badly, the bottom of the upholstery really was starting to come off. So part of our job has already been done. We just need to finish undoing the upholstery and slip this seat cover off and see what we have. Well, not too hard once you know what you're doing. All right, we'll set this aside and straighten that up later. All right, let's see what we have here on the old spring department. You know, even if these springs aren't, I know for a fact the spring on the driver's side is broken because I've already been underneath it and looked at it, but I do not see any broken springs here, but they're mighty flimsy. I tell you what, it's like sitting on nothing, man. I guess European folks back in the 80s were a lot lighter. I don't know. All right, so looks like we just got some bolts to get this seat bottom off of here, so we're going to flip it back over on its side and get this seat bottom out of the way. All right, we're going to show you the differences between the Gen 1 W126 seat bottoms and a Gen 2. Here is the one out of my car. You will note that it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those cross members, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. And the same for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, and 1, 2, 3, 4 of the lower spring. There are some key differences. The most glaring difference is the addition of these two springs horizontally here. You'll see this hook, it goes downward into the middle part of the seat, and it connects up with another one that goes down to the bottom, and they're connected with this clamp here and goes back up over. So the center part of the seat has much more support, and this one has nothing in the middle. Also, I'm not sure, I'm assuming this is OEM. There's a very thick column of foam put in between these springs. There's none here. Let's count the windings in these. Let's see. Starting at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the same number of windings on those coils. One other item, this cross member on the old seat, it has a larger, it's longer, right? All right, now compare that to this one. So this one goes up, around, and it doesn't go out this way. It hangs a right-hand turn and goes on over that way. So those are the most immediate differences that I see right away. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. See there? Look at that right there. Now that is interesting. You see that? This seat, this stock OEM seat out of our 300 SD, has a place for another spring. You see that? So that begs the question, did the 300 SD economy version come with cushier seats than higher end models? Was this one supposed to have this cross member? You see that? And this one is missing. Now that is an interesting difference. All right, so if you guys know, hey, fill in the comments down below and let me know, man. Fill me in here. I'm new at this, okay? So yeah, I've done a reupholstered a couple of seats here and there, but you know, have I ever torn apart a Mercedes W126 seat bottom? No, but we're going to learn together. All right, more later. The next thing we've got to do in order to replace this seat bottom is detach the backrest, and we simply have 4 bolts, 1, 2 here and 2 on the other side. There's one catch. The wiring harness that goes from the motors, or the connection down below, that goes up here across there into the motor that controls the backrest. I do not see a way of disconnecting that wire in a very easy fashion. All right, I think I figured out how to get this wiring harness out of here from the backrest. So it goes to pins 1 and 2, 1 and 2, or 1 and 2, and I think I can just slip those out of there and then just feed this thing all the way back, and I believe we can play it that way. That way we can get the backrest completely disconnected out of our way, because there's more to this than just replacing the springs. I want to get after this corrosion here. There's corrosion on this. I want to do some sanding and some painting, and I can't have this thing all connected up. I've got to get it completely disassembled to do the stuff I want to do. I've got our wire pulled out of the seat bottom. That wasn't too bad once you know how to do it. Now all we have to do is disconnect these 4 bolts on either side, get our seat back off. This is a 13 millimeter. That'll make our life a lot easier. All right, we're gonna hook up our power again to pins 3 and 4 on the wiring harness on the seat frame there. We're gonna get these first 2 screws off here and over there, and then we're gonna move this whole thing back until we line up the holes. I believe there's a hole right here to get to the middle one, and we'll make plenty of room down there when we pull it back to get that other one off. So here we go. All right, so for these two middle bolts, I stupidly forgot to record the whole scenario, but we could not get our tool down inside there clearly. But I got a 3/8 extension. I fed that into a 3/8 to 1/4 adapter, into a 1/4 inch extension, into an 8mm socket, and we'd put our big Phillips bit in there because these are really large Phillips screws. And I was able to get down in there and pound those two screws. I was able to loosen them so we could get them out. All right, it's time to move the seat and get the last two. Wrong way. All right, so these two screws on the front have this small metal piece here, so we don't want to forget about that. I'm going to put that in the video here so I don't forget about it. All right, here we go. That wasn't too bad, was it? All right, I'm going to set this off to the side. We'll get to this later. Folks, I think I'm going to call this a video. I think we're going to divide this up into two parts for the front seat restoration and seat bottom spring replacement. So for the first part, we were able to remove the seat from the car, get it over to our little workbench, our little makeshift workbench here, and start the teardown process. We disconnected the backrest from the bottom. We used the power plug and a couple of leads running back to the battery on the old 300 SD here to move our seat back and forth to facilitate removing bolts and so forth. And we were able to get this seat torn down. We've got the spring pulled out. We got the seat bottom with the motors and the electrical system. We've got the seat bottom over there. We've got the seat back way over there in the corner. You can't see it. But anyway, we've got this thing all torn down. And right now, though, what we're going to do is call this a video. I think part 2 will begin the cleanup process. We'll get all the corrosion off this guy and make sure all of our connections are nice and solid. And we're going to do the same for the seat back and for the seat bottom. We want to get all the corrosion off and get everything cleaned up really, really nicely. Next up in part 2, we're also going to take these little covers off here. They got a lot of rust on them. We're going to take those off. We're going to get all this cleaned up and shampooed. We're going to get this thing off of here, and we're going to get that cleaned up as well. That's pretty nasty. It's got some white corrosion on it. That will not do, folks. Well, that's all for now, folks. I appreciate you guys stopping by my channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for part 2. Take it easy.